so we've been started because actually the time that we were usually have started is was when the libraries closed down. So we're glad we got to start off, and we then decided that we should go ahead on and
Michael
there. So let me just and so that's what we've been doing, and we're doing them. We generally do readings on Thursday evenings at 7:30 Eastern time, and Saturday readings at Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, because Saturdays was the time at the libraries when we usually do our readings, and when we look forward to going back and doing our readings when we can go back. So that's what we're doing, and we work from the first folio. These are the Puck Press First Folio editions that I published, which are the first folio in modern type, because the first folio has a lot of clues for the actors in terms of sort of what words to emphasize, because in Shakespeare's time, we have to remember that they were putting on a lot of different plays in a very short period of time. The only record we have is from Henslow's diary, and like over a 2-week period, they would do like possibly 9 or 10 different shows. And if a show was popular, they'd bring it back in a couple of weeks, and then bring it back a couple of weeks after that, and then show it at court. But that's so they had to rehearse and put on these plays, which now, I mean, serious companies, they'll take months and months to rehearse it. I mean, they didn't have that time when they were doing it. So I mean, the folio has a lot of those clues that are encoded in the text to help us with it, so we can just dive into it and trust the text. And that's what it's about. So the way we do this is that when the actors are in the scene, they have their video on and are unmuted. And when they're off the scene, that they turn off their video and mute themselves. That way, so that the attendees in gallery view will just see the people who are in the scene. And so, I mean, that also means that like when you're in the scene, you're still being viewed, so you should be in the scene. I mean, a lot of people have talked about how frustrating these Zoom readings are, that we aren't really live together in person, but we are still live together in time in our own places. And we have people from and in this way, we're able to have people from Virginia and Georgia and Ohio and Texas and New York and New Jersey, and just be able to get together and share this text. So yeah, that's what it's about. And I think, I think everyone is here except for Ken, so I can just cover his thing since it's just basically one line at the beginning.
Ken Wayne is late even when he doesn't have to travel?
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, it's like when you're that far out in Brooklyn, I mean, you have to travel. I mean, and yeah, Julie can understand this. You know, you have to plan. I mean, it's just, you just get so beaten down by how slow the public transportation can be, that you then are, yes, you're always going to be late for things. I mean, because you have to train to it. It's really difficult. But yeah, no, I don't know where he is, and he hopefully will get here soon. But in any event, yeah, what I'd like to do before we get started, just for each of our players to just introduce themselves, say what role they're playing, and then they can turn off their video, and then we can go on with this. So unless anybody has any concerns before we go any further, my name is Paul Sugarman. I'll be doing the master and reading the stage directions.
Jennifer Finger, I'm playing Sebastian.
Warren Weiss, and I play Gonzalo.
David Lutson playing Caliban.
Bennett Pology playing Stefano. Stefano or Stefano?
Stefano. Julie Kirshner, I'm playing Trinculo.
Yeah.
Mary Lou Carbone, I'm playing Alonzo.
Jessica Albano, I'm playing Miranda.
Leah Schwartz, I'm playing Ferdinand. This is William Dean, and I'm playing Antonio.
Michael, did you introduce yourself? I didn't hear you. I think you're muted. I'm not hearing you, Michael. Michael, can anybody hear Michael? I can't hear Michael.
No.
Let's see. Yeah, I still can't hear you. I don't know what's up. I mean, because it looks like your mic is not muted, but I'm also not seeing any activity with it. Let me just see. Oh, David had to. Okay. So Michael, any? All right. Yeah, no, it's showing muted, but let's see.
I got lost out of the meeting.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're back, David. I don't know why that
I
happened.
don't know what happened. Just suddenly the connection went.
Yeah. Michael is not. Do we hear him? I don't hear him.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, but you can't see me.
No,
I
I'm
can
not.
see you
I can
too.
see you and hear you. It's just, for me, it's a little out of sync. But anyways, we're just about to get started. So let's see what we can do with this. So just test one more. Oh, now it's gone again. Oh, well. All righty. Let's see, who's that? I don't know, maybe Michael, if you want to go off and come back on, and maybe that'll.
Me?
No, Michael, I'm
I-
Michael Gardner. I still can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can? Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah, no, I was just saying with Michael that he can't hear him. All right, well, anyways, fun fact about the Tempest. It's all based on the, one of the famous things about it is that it is, as William Dean was mentioning before you guys were here, that it's based on an actual shipwreck that happened in the Bermudas, in Bermuda. And actually, I know somebody who claims to be a descendant from one of the people who was on that wreck. So she sort of says she's descendant of Stefano. But but that's one of the things, and this is also one of the things that is sort of seen as a real nail in the coffin for the Earl of Oxford theory, because the Tempest has all of these things about this specific shipwreck, which happened like 5 years after the Earl of Oxford had died. So that kind of makes it tough for him. The very first, real prominent Oxfordian, Thomas Loney, although his name is spelled Looney, he pronounced it Loney, was that, oh, well, the Tempest, that isn't by Shakespeare, because that's not really a Shakespearean one. Whereas I think, it's the play they put at the very beginning of the first folio. It is probably the most Shakespearean play. Michael, I still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Anybody have any suggestions about your audio?
Michael, did you unmute?
He's not muted. It's just he's not coming through. All righty. Well,
Yeah.
I see his picture.
Paul?
Yeah.
If he goes to right next to the mute button, there's audio. If you click on that arrow, you get audio settings.
Ah,
And if you click on that, you'll see microphone and speaker levels, and maybe his level is way down on the microphone. It's a sliding bar. You can move the pointer up to make it maximum. See if you can do that.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
So, Michael, can you see that? I mean, in terms of you go to the next to the mute button, there's that little triangle, and if you click on that to see the audio settings, if you see the microphone, if you can select the microphone or test speaker and microphone, anything there? Because I don't know.
Keeps talking. We can't hear you, Mike.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to suggest.
Maybe,
Yeah. Anyone else have a suggestion?
maybe if he just goes on and off, he cuts out and comes back again.
We just tried that. I mean, he just did that,
Didn't work.
so, yeah. So I don't think it's that. I think it's some sort of thing on his computer.
Well,
either
now, excuse me.
settings.
Hello, Mike. Now you're muted. I mean, the mute button on in Zoom, it indicates you're muted. So if you hover over, yeah.
Hear me now?
There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, guess what?
Woo-hoo!
We're staying with this. Just, you can hear me okay, okay?
Beautifully,
Beautiful.
yes.
It's
All
great.
right.
All right.
Get out
Great.
of this. Let me get my script back up. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
I know. It's like, it's such a, oh God, Lord Jesus, please. Just give me a second. I'm trying to get my script. And I've got Macbeth here.
Really? Okay. Thank you for that. So, but hey.
All right, just talk amongst yourselves for 1 minute.
All right, some other interesting facts. Yes, The Tempest is the very first play in the first folio. It is one of his shortest plays. It's I think the third shortest, and that it only has actually, even though it has 5 acts, they're really like just 9 scenes. So it has like about the least number of scenes of any Shakespeare play, and a lot of people think of it as Shakespeare's final play, even though I mean, because there's so much in terms of where we've sort of identified, and I think even in the first folio they wanted us to identify Shakespeare with Prospero by placing this, one of his very last plays, at the very beginning of the book. So Michael, are you just about ready?
I'm just gonna read. I'm on here now. I'll worry about covering myself when I leave the scene because we want to get this going. God damn it.
Okay. All right.
Let me just get to the beginning of the play. Shit. Boy, am I into this now?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I feel the storm.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going. I'm rocking and rolling with hand to thing. Ready? Go for it.
Okay, now we don't need to shout, but we'll just be loud. And so The Tempest, actus primus, scena prima, a tempestuous noise of thunder and lightning heard. Enter a shipmaster and a boatswain. Boatswain!
Here, master, what's here?
Good, speak to the mariners. Fall to it, Yarley, or we run ourselves aground. Bestir, bestir!
In my hearts, cheerily, cheerily in my hearts. Yar, yar, take in the top sail, tend to the master's whistle. Blow till thou burst thy wind if room enough.
Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Fernando, Gonzalo, and others.
Good boatswain, have care. Where's the master? Play the men.
I pray now, keep below.
Where is the master, bosun?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is hence, what cares thee, royals, for the name of kings? To cabin, silence, trouble us not.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I more love than myself. You're a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace to the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour if it so hap. Cheerily, good hearts. Out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doubtful advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yeah! Lower! Lower! Bring it to try with main course!
Oh!
A
Oh!
plague upon his howling! They are louder than the weather of our office. Yet again? What do you hear? Shall we give once and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pot to your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, and charitable dog!
Work you then!
Hang, cur, hang, you horse and insolent noise maker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
Well, I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Let her hold, set her 2 courses off to sea again. Lay her off.
Enter mariners wet. Oh, lost to prayers.
Prayers!
Lost to
Prayers!
prayers.
What? Must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince at prayers, let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I'm out of patience.
We're merely cheated of our lives by drunkards, this white-chopped rascal, which thou mightst lie drowning in the washing of 10 tides.
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it, and gape at wits to glut him.
The confused noise within.
Mercy on us! We split! We split! Farewell, my wife!
Oh, my
Farewell, brother! We split! We split! We split!
Let's all sink with the king!
Let's take leave of him.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown furs, anything, the wheels above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
Exit. Scena Secunda. Enter Prospero and Miranda.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel, who had no doubt some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship have swallowed, and the frotting souls within her.
Be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, though that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, not so much perdition as an air, be tid to any creature in the vessel, which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now no farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come, the very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for thou wast not then out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person, or of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance?
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here, thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are you not my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess, no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed was we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen I had turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you farther.
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He, whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time, through all the signories, it was the first, and Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel. These being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts of the state to what tune pleased his ear. And now that he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk, and sunk my virtue out on't, thou tedst not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I prithee mark me. I thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness, and the bettering of my mind with that, which but by being so retired or prized all popular rate. In my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary, as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound, he being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with King of Naples to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbowed, alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. The King of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother, whereon a treacherous army levied one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and thy crying sylph.
Lack for pity. I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to't.
Here a little further, then I'll bring thee to the present business, which now's upon, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colors fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, what cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt under my burden groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and the necessaries, which since have steeded much so of his gentleness, knowing I love my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but see that man.
Now I arrive, sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this land we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princess can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heaven thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm.
No, thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant. Come, I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
Enter Ariel.
Oh, hail, great master, grave Sir Hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task. Ariel and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometime I'll divide and burn in many places, on the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphur's roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason.
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds not hair, was the first man that leapt, cried, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are the Ariels safe?
Oh, not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badst me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermoothes. There she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffered labor I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again, and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king shipwrecked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time is out, no more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinks it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Argier.
Oh, was she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgettest. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, to enter human hearing from Argier, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with, and here was left by the sailors. This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, was then her servant, and for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the son that he did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban, whom now I keep in service. Thou best knowest what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
Oh, that's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go and make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, and hither come again. Go hence with diligence.
Exit.
Awake, dear, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. But ho, slave Caliban, thou earth, thou speak.
Within! There's enough wood within!
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when?
Enter
Mine
Ariel.
apparison, my quaint Ariel, hark in thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself, upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
As wicked do, as here my mother brushed, with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both, a southwest blow on ye, and blister all o'er.
For this be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches, that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall for that vast of night, that they may work all exercise on thee, thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine. By Sycorax my mother, which thou takest from me when thou camest first. Thou strokest me, and made much of me, and wast give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I love thee, and shew thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, the brin pits, barren place and fertile. Cursed be that I did so. All the charms of cigarettes, toads, beetles, and bats light on you, for I am all the subjects that you have, which was first mine own king, and here you are stymie in this hard rock, while you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, ho, ho, ho! Wouldn't that have been done? Thou didst prevent me, and I had people else this island with Calibans!
A poor slave, which any pint of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that in which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is, I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hag seed, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick thou's best to answer other business. Shrugs thou malice? If thou neglects or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee, I must obey. His art is too of such power. I would control my damn's god of Setebos, and make a vassal of him.
So, slave, hence.
Exit Caliban. Enter Ferdinand and Ariel, invisible, playing and singing.
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands, curtsied when you have and kissed the wild waves whist, put it featly here and there, and sweet sprites bear the burden. Hark, hark, bow wow, the watchdogs bark, bow wow. Hark, hark, I hear the stranger strutting chanticleer cry, cockle-diddle-doo.
This music be the air or the earth? It sounds no more, and sure it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wreck. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Fathom 5, thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer us see change into something rich and strange. See nymphs hourly ring his knell, burden ding dong. Hark now, I hear them, ding dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
Fringe curtains of thine eye, advance, and say what thou seest yon.
But it's a spirit. Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form. But 'tis a spirit.
No, wench. It eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have. Such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. You might call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find him.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer, may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir. Certainly a maid.
My language, heavens, I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How, the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the king my father wrecked.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. A pity move my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the queen of Naples.
Soft, sir, one more word. They are both in either's power, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend to me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the lord on it.
No, as I am a man.
But there's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me. Speak not you for him. He's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots and husks, wherein the acorns cradled. Follow.
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
He draws and is charmed from moving.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What, I say, my foot, my tutor? Put up thy sword, traitor, who makes to show but dares not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity. I'll be his surety.
Silence. One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What, an advocate for an impostor? Hush, thou thinkst that there is no more shapes, such shapes as he, living. Those shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench, to the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wreck of all my friends, nor this man's threats to who I am subdue are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, all corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
Works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shall do more.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwanted which now came from him.
Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
Exeunt. Actus secundus, scena prima. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, Francisco, and others. Gonzalo, you're muted. Gonzalo, you're Gonzalo, you muted yourself again.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all of joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common every day. Some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchants, and the merchants have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions and speak like us, then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
The sea is comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him or so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. One violent will strike.
Sir,
One, tell.
when every grief is entertained, thus offered comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You've taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Fie, what a spendthrift he is of his tongue.
I prithee spare.
well, I have done, but yet,
Who'll be talking?
Which of he or Adrian for a good wager first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. The wager?
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
So you're paid.
uninhabitable, and almost inaccessible,
Yet.
Yet
Yeah, he couldn't miss it.
it must needs be of a subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and a subtle as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs and rotten ones.
Or as twere perfumed by a fen.
Oh, here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
Yeah, the ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
Ah, he misses not much.
No, but he does but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many such rarities are.
that our garments being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Oh, methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on at first in Afrique, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter, Claribel, to the king of Tunis.
It was a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since Widow Dido's time.
Widow? A pox on that. How came that widow in? Widow Dido?
What if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you? You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage.
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it to his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more island.
Aye.
Yeah, why, in good time.
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Hey, I beseech you, Widow Dido.
Widow Dido? Aye, Widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is far from Italy removed. I ne'er again shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meat on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arm in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss, that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, with cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled too, and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between grossness and obedience. At which end of the beam should bow? We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them with this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the lost.
My lord Sebastian, the truth to speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And more surgeonly.
It is foul weather in all of us, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I a plantation of this isle, my lord,
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
and were the king on it, what would I do?
Escape being drunk from want of wine.
In the commonwealth, I would, by contraries, execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit. No name a magistrate. Letters should not be known. Riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, corn, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil. No occupation. All men idle, all. And women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
Yet he will be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind, all poison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying amongst his subjects?
None, man. All idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Oh, live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
Well, I do well believe, your highness, and in it to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use to laugh at nothing.
It was you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given.
And not fall flat long.
You are gentlemen of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it for 5 weeks without changing.
Enter Ariel playing solemn music.
We would so and then go with bat fouling.
Nay, my good lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep? I'm very heavy.
Go, sleep and hear us.
What, all of you so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow when it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fall all together as if by consent. They drop as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? What might, but no more. And yet, methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do. And surely it is a sleepy language. and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die rather, wing'st while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be too, if heed me which to do, trebles the oar.
Well, I'm standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb, hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you purpose cherish, you the purpose cherish, while you thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be as a little memory when he is earthed, hath her almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope that way is, another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
How about?
She that is Queen of Tunis. She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life. She that from Naples can have no note unless the sun were post. The man on the moon's too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that from whom we are all sea swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act, whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? To treat my brother's daughter's Queen of Tunis, so is she heir of Naples, which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say, this were death that now has seized them. Why then they were no worse than now they are. There can be that runs Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as aptly and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a choff as deep a chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do, would asleep for this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
How does your content tend to your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments stood upon me, much feeder than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
Aye, sir, where lies that? If 'twere a kibe to put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon, and if he were that which he's like, that's dead, with whom with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whiles you doing thus to the perpetual wink, for I might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our course, for all the rest they'll take suggestion. As a cat laps milk, they'll tell the clock to any business that we say benefits the hour.
In that case, dear friend, shall be my president. As thou goest Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, you do the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word.
Enter Ariel with music and song.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, or else his project dies, to keep them living, While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king.
Why, how now? Ho, awake! Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Well, as we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls, or rather lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried as mine eyes opened that I saw the weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Oh, heavens, keep him from these beasts, or he is sure at the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
Exeunt. Scena secunda, enter Caliban with a burden of wood. A noise of thunder heard.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs and flats on Prosper fall, and make him ill meal disease, his spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But fail nor pinch, fright me with urchin shoes and pitch in my mire, nor lead me with a firebrand in the dark. Out of my way, unless I bid 'em. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes, that mow and chatter at me, and bite me like hedgehogs, which, lie tumbling on my bare foot away, mount their pricks at my footfall, sometimes. I'm all wound up with adders, who with cloven tongues who hiss into madness, and lo now, lo, here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in so slowly, I'll fall flat, perchance he will not mind me.
Oh, here's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing, I hear sing in the wind. Oh, yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Oh, yon same cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. Oh! What have we here? A man or a fish? Dead or alive? Oh, a fish. He smells like a fish. A very serious and fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest, poor John, a strange fish. Oh, were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool, but would give a piece of silver. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Oh, legged like a man, and his fins like arms. Oh, warm of my troth. I do not now let loose my opinion. Hold, it is no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Oh, alas, thunder! The storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. Oh, there is no other shelter hereabouts. Oh, misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. Oh, I will here shroud to the dregs of the storm be past.
Enter Stefano singing.
I shall no more to see, here shall I die ashore. That's a scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I. The gunner and his mate loved Moll and Meg and Marion and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not the saviour of tar nor of pitch, yet a sailor might scratch her where'er she did itch. Then to sea, boys, and let her go hang. That's a scurvy tune, too. But here's my comfort.
Do not torment me. Oh!
What's the matter? Devils have we here? You put tricks upon us with savages and men of India, huh? I have not scaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs, for it like hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground. So shall it be said so again, while Stefano breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me. Ah!
Some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, I take it, an ague. Where the devil shall he learn our language? Well, I'll give him some relief if it be but for that. If I can recover him, keep him tame, get him to Naples with me, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, I prithee. I'll bring wood home faster.
Oh, he's in his fit now and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he have never drunk wine afore, it will go ne'er to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt anon, I know that by thy trembling, now prosper works upon thee.
Come your ways. Here. Open your mouth. Here is that will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and that soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chaps again. Come on.
I should know that voice. It should be. But he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me!
4 legs and 2 voices? Most delicate monster. His forward voice is now to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Come, amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano?
Thy other mouth call me? Mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stefano! If thou be a Stefano, touch me and speak to me. Oh, I am Tranquillo. Be not afeard. Thy good friend Tranquillo.
If thou beest Tranquillo, come forth. Yeah. I'll pull thee by thy lesser legs. If any be Tranquillo's legs, these are they. Ah! Thou art very Tranquillo indeed. thou to be the siege of this moon calf? Can he vent trinculos?
I took him to be killed with a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned? Stephano, I hope now thou art not drowned. It is the storm overblown. I hid me under this dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. Oh, art thou living, Stephano? Oh, Stephano, to Neapolitan scape.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things. And if they be not spirits, that's a brave god that bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard, but by this bottle which I made of the bark of a tree with mine own hands since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject. For the liquor is not earthly.
Here. Swear then how thou scapest.
Swam ashore, man. I swam ashore like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Oh, thou canst swim like a duck. Thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stephano, hast any more of this?
The whole butt, man. My cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hidden.
Ooh.
Now, moon calf. How does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon one time was.
I've seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. I must just show thee, and my dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that, huh? Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. Huh? Swear.
By this good like, this is a very shallow monster. I, afeard of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most poor, credulous monster. A well-drawn monster, in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I'll kiss thy foot and prithee be my god.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. Where God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Well, come on then. Down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster, a most scurvy monster. I could find in my heart to beat him.
Kiss.
But that the poor monster's in drink, an abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs, and I'll pluck thee berries, and I'll fish for thee, and I'll get thee wood enough. I'll plague upon the tyrants that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a drunkard of a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where the crabs grow, and I with the long nails will dig thee pig nuts, and show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmozets. And I'll bring thee to the clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get thee the scammels from the rock. Will go with me?
I prithee now lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king, and all our company else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Fellow Trinculo, we'll fill him by and by again.
Ah, but hey, but ho, but ha, farewell and farewell, farewell, farewell!
A howling monster, a drunken monster.
No more dams than I'll make for fish, and no more fetch and firing, at requiring nor scrape, no treachery, nor wash dish. Pan, pan, Caliban has a new master and got a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom. Freedom, high day, freedom.
Brave monster, lead the way.
Exeunt. Actus tertius, scena prima. Enter Ferdinand, bearing a log.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them set off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work and says such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors, most busy lest when I do it.
Alas, now pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs you were enjoined to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard to study. Pray you now rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
O most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease. For my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly, that I may set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration. Worth what steepest to the world, full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues I have liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. But you, oh, you, so perfect and so peatless are created of every creature's best.
I do not know my sex. No woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are broad I am skilless of, but by my mind, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something wildly. My father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly below my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it. And for your sake am I this patient log man.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh earth, bear witness to this sound and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true, if hallowly invert what best is boded me to mischief. I, beyond all limit of what else of the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I'm a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
at my unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant whether you will or no.
Mistress dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage, heir of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in. And now farewell. Half an hour.
1,000.
So glad of this as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal. But my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
All right, thank you, exit. And so now we're going to take a brief break, just like 5 minutes. So we're getting started right at 9:02. Just like to do a little sort of break in the middle here, just because that's what's been requested. And if anybody has any questions or any issues, just some of the problems. Sometimes, I mean, we have some things where things get a little garbled a little bit sometimes, but it's mostly had been pretty good. David Cedar, can you stop your video when you're not in the scene?
I'll try. I'm after what happened earlier, I'm a little afraid of anything right now.
All right, well then just leave it. I mean, you can have it. And our thing that Prospero is the omniscient, always watching everything that's going on, which is a valid choice.
I'll see if I can do something.
Don't bother with that. Don't bother with that. That'll be great. So
The doctors call that rationalization.
Rationalization. Yeah, well, that's it's just, I mean, see, it actually comes back to one of my favorite Shakespeare expressions from the first folio in Hamlet. There's nothing either good or bad, but
thinking makes it so.
Which I think is just a wonderful thing, because it sort of is like, well, if you look at something that may be bad, sometimes if you can get yourself to think about it another way, maybe it's not so bad, maybe it's good. So that's, you're muted, Ben, so I can't hear whatever your biting rejoinder was.
Nothing. I was just thinking that's how our president lives. Yeah. Sorry. Political.
Wait, I don't think he does much thinking, though, is the problem.
No.
Does a lot of talking without thinking. And the thing is that he's doing it. He plays the buffoon and he does these things like, oh, I'm going to stop the elections because the economic figures were so bad. And this is a way to distract people from how bad the economy is doing. So I mean, and then it gets everybody crazy. It gets his base fired up. It's get everybody crazy. But I mean, the real thing is Mitch McConnell is like, no, of course, that's ridiculous. We're going to have an election on November 3rd. So, and
Mitch McConnell said that.
Yeah, he did.
And not only Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham said it too.
Yeah, but because I mean, even though they're all like kowtowing to him, they still, I mean, do believe in the institution of the legislature. And I mean,
I believe that I think that they're corrupt. I don't know about believing. I think that they can't go so wild. It's more, they can't. If they did this, then they would be suspect. They just can't. I don't think they have many ethics in believing people, but they just can't go that wild because they would be completely, their reputation means something.
The Constitution, you know.
It would be illegal, yeah. There you go.
So we do have to deal with that. But anyway, sorry, I don't like to get political, because one of the things that I really like about Shakespeare is that it appeals to people across the political spectrum. We have a number of members, I don't know that there are any here today, who are Trump supporters and very conservative. And yeah, Ben, you want to say something?
First of all, I'm happy to hear from all of them in a civil tone. And secondly, I'm sorry I brought it up, everybody. I'm a shrink, and I had like 3 sessions just before this. Everybody's freaking, understandably. And I thought I kept up with the news, but I'm hearing stuff that's really scary. It's like, this is Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh, sorry I brought it up, but I needed to vent.
it's amazing how many little clips there are on YouTube of Republicans who voted for Trump who want nothing more to do with him.
Right.
Clip
Well,
after
they're a
clip.
special. Actually, they're a minority. They're an organized small group called the Lincoln Project. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, most Republicans are behind him. They're cowards. This small group called the Lincoln Project is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say they're very big. They're just.
I actually was thinking today, where can I go if this guy wins? You know, who do I
Don't
know?
even think that way.
Yeah, don't please.
I mean, yeah, it's, well, let's see. Well, it is a very scary prospect. I mean, I think that there will be election. I mean, I don't know if it'll be something, I mean.
We're not going to find out who won for days, weeks, months, and then we won't know that it was the one who actually won.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we can, by having the sorts of things that are in place in terms of making sure that voting's fair, although with, I mean, mail-in voting is so much safer than most of these machines that can be hacked.
That's not true, because they toss out mail-in
In any
votes.
event, we are not going to talk any more about politics.
Exactly right.
Hey, folks, just register and vote.
Yes, everybody should register.
And mail your stuff in because it's the best way to do it.
That's right.
Yes.
Anyway.
8% of those votes will not be counted.
Secunda, enter Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo.
Hold on.
Hold on. Okay.
Oh.
Well, tell not me, but when the butt is out, we will drink water. Not a drop before, therefore, bear up, and boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the Sophie of this island, they say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. And if the other 2 can be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, but I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they be set us? He were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore 35 leagues off and on. By this light thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Or lieutenant if you list, he's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
Nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life if thou beest good, Mooncalf.
How doth thy honor? And let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him, he's not valiant.
Oh, thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to justle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou? Was there ever a man a coward that doth drunk so much sack as I have today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
Lo, how he mocks me, wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural.
Lo, again, bite him to death, I prithee.
Trinculo, keep a good. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree, huh?
Oh.
Poor monster's my subject. He shall not suffer indignity.
I thank thee, my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the screed I made to thee?
Marry will I. Kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
As I told thee before, I am a subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, that by his cunning hath cheated me off the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest? A jesting monkey, thou? I would be my valiant master just destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you do trouble him any more in his tale, by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
I said nothing.
Mum them and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery, he got this island from me. He got it? If thy greatness will revenge it on him, I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
Well, that's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How shall this be compassed? Can thou bring me to the party?
Yea, yea, my lord. I'll yield him to your sleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pity that ninny is this. Thou scurvy patch, I do beseech thy greatness give him blows, and take his bottle from him. And when that's gone, he shall drink naught but brine, for I'll show him where the quick freshers are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt this monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
What did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take that, thou! That! And as you like it, give me this lie another time.
I did not give the lie out of your wits and hearing too. Locks on your bottle. This can sack and drinking do. Rain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers. Oh.
Ha 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 ha!
Now, forward with your tale. Prithee, stand farther off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther. Come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep, and there make us brain him, having first seen his books, or with a log, batter his skull, or paunch him with a stake, or cut his weazen with a knife. Remember, first possess his books, for without them he's but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I do. Burn but his books. Ha ha, as brave utensils, for so he calls them, to which he has a house, and he'll deck withal. And that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nun parallel. I never saw a woman but only Sycorax, my dam. But she surpasseth Sycorax as great do least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Aye, Lord, and she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen. Save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Oh, give me thy hand. I'm sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within his half hour he will be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This will I tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us check on. Will ye trouble the catch? You caught me but while ere.
At thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come, Trinculo, let us sing. Loud'em and cowd'em and scout'em and flout'em, what is free.
That's not the tune.
Ariel plays the tune on a tabor and pipe.
What is this the same?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou be a man, Show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest the devil, takes thou their list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee! Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The island is full of noises, sounds, sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. And sometimes 1,000 tangling instruments will hum mine ears, and sometimes voices that I then had waked after a long sleep, and will wake me again, sleep again, and then in dreaming. The clouds methought would open and show riches, ready to drop upon me. When then I awaked, I'd cry to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and after do our work.
Lead, monster. We'll follow. I would I could see this taborer. He lays it on.
Wilt come? I'll follow, Stefano.
Exeunt. Scena tertia. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Adrian, Francisco, and such.
Ah, by Lakin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones aches. Here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders. Ah, by your patience, I needs must rest me.
O Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it. No longer for my flatterer, he is drowned, whom thus we strayed to find, and the sea mocks our frustrated search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that you resolve to effect.
Next advantage will we take Thrally.
Let it be tonight, for now they are pressed with travail. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
Solemn and strange music, and Prosper on the top, invisible, enter several strange shapes, bringing in a banquet, and dance about it with gentle actions of salutations, and inviting the king and company to eat. They depart.
That's it tonight, no more.
What harmony is this, my good friends? Hark!
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us, kind keepers, heaven. Where were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns. That in Arabia there's one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemned them.
If in Naples I should report this now, oh, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islands, for certes these are people of the island, who though they are of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind, and then of our humane generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Prospero, you're muted.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse. Such shapes, such gestures, and such sounds expressing, although they want to use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
They vanished strangely.
No matter. since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will please you taste of what is here?
Nor I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were who would believe that there were mountaineers, dew-lapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at them rods of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 would bring us God warrant of.
I will stand too and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand too and do as we.
Thunder and lightning enter Ariel like a harpy, claps their wings upon the table, and with a quaint device the banquet vanishes.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in't, the never surfeited sea hath caused to belch up you. And on this island where man doth not inhabit, you monks men being most unfit to live, I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with bemocked at stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dowel that's in my plum. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart's sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had devouring of my instruction, hast thou nothing bated in which thou hadst to say. So with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done, which my high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billow spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass, therefore my son, the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummeted, sounded, and wish him there he lie muddied.
Exit.
One fiend at a time, all fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
Exeunt.
All 3 of them are desperate. The great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now begins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to do.
Follow, I pray you. Exeunt omnes, actus quartus, scena prima. Enter Prospero, Ferdinand, and Miranda.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here, afore heaven, I ratified this my rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her of, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then, as my guest and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersions shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore, take heed, as Hymen's lamp shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, our worser genius shall never melt mine honor into lust. To take away the edge of that day's celebration when I shall think, or Phoebus' steeds are foundered, or night kept chained below.
Prospero fairly spoke.
All right, Mr. Lovely, fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What Ariel, my industrious servant? Ariel.
Enter Ariel. Enter Ariel.
What page? What page, please?
Bottom of 75.
Okay, I hit a page by mistake. What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner fellows your last service did worthily perform, and I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble, or whom I give thee power, here to this place. Incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, with a twink.
Before you can say come and go, and breathe twice and cry so, so, each one tripping on his toe, will be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, master? No.
Dearly, my delicate Ariel, do not approach till thou dost hear me call.
Exit.
Look, thou be true, do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw the fire of the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white, cold, virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
Well, now come, my Ariel, bring a corollary, rather than want a spirit. Appear, and pertly, no tongue, all eyes, be silent.
Soft music. Enter Iris. Ceres, most bounteous lady, thy rich lees of wheat, rye, barley, fetches, oats, and peas, thy turfy mountains where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stover them to keep, the banks with pinioned and twilled brims, which spongy April at thy hest betrims, to make cold nymphs chase crowns, and thy broom groves, whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves, being last lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyard, and thy sea-marred sterile and rocky heart, where thou thyself dost err, the queen of the sky, whose watery arch and messenger am I, bids thee leave, and these with her sovereign grace, Juno descends here on this grassy spot in this very place to come and sport. Here peacocks fly amain. Approach, rich Ceres, here her to entertain.
I'm coming. I'll be right there. I just lost my place. Jesus. Just get me back to my page and I'll be right there. Page seven, what page is it again?
77, the bottom of 77, my series.
I'm coming right now. I had to undo my thing and I lost my place. Hail, many-colored messenger, that ne'er dost disobey the wife of Jupiter, who with thy saffron wings upon my flowers diffuses honey drops, refreshing showers, and with each end of thy blue bow dost crown my busky acres and my unshrubed down. Rich scarf to my proud earth, why hast thy queen summoned me hither to this short grass green?
A contract of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to estate on the blessed lovers.
Tell me, heavenly beau, if Venus or her son, as thou dost know, do now attend the queen? Since they did plot the means that dusky discs my daughter got, her and her blind boy's scandaled company I have forsworn.
Of her society be not afraid. I met her deity, cutting the clouds towards Paphos, and her son dove-drawn with her. Here thought they to have done some wonted charm upon this man and maid, whose vows are that no bedright shall be paid till Hymen's torch be lighted, but in vain. Mars's hot minion is returned again. Her waspish-headed son has broke his arrows, swears he will shoot no more, but play with sparrows, and be a boy right out.
Highest queen of state, greet Juno comes. I know her by her gait.
How dost, my bounteous sister? Go with me to bless this twain, that they may prosperous be, and honored in their issue. Of the riches marriage blessing, long continuance and increasing, hourly joys be still upon you. Juno sings her blessings on you. Earth's increase for thee and plenty, barns and garners never empty, vines with clustering bunches growing, plants with goodly burden bowing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you. Ceres' blessing so is on you.
This is a most majestic vision, and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies.
Let me live here ever. So rare a wondered father and wise makes this place paradise.
Sweet, now silence. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously. There's something else to do. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred.
Juno and Ceres whisper and send Iris on employment. You nymphs called Naiades of the wandering brooks, with your sedged crowns and ever harmless looks, leave your crisp channels and on this green land answer your summons. Juno does command. Come, temperate nymphs, and help to celebrate a contract of true love. Be not too late. Enter certain nymphs. You, sunburned sicklemen of August weary, come hither from the furrow and be merry. Make holiday, your rye straw hats put on, and these fresh nymphs encounter everyone in country footing. Enter certain reapers, properly habited. They join with the nymphs in a graceful dance, towards the end where Prospero starts suddenly and speaks, after which to a strange, hollow, and confused noise, they heavily vanish.
I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done. Avoid no more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Never till this day saw him touched with anger, so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell, and there repose a turn or two. I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish your peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel, come.
Enter Ariel.
Thy thoughts I cleave to, what's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which like unbacked colts they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears that calf-like they my lowing followed, through tooth briars, sharp furzes, pricking goss and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither, for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And with this, as with age, his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, hang them on this line.
Enter Ariel, loaden with glistening apparel, and enter Caliban, Stephano, and Trinculo, all wet.
Pray ye tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We are near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, who you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I just smell old horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So's mine. You hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink his mischance, and therefore speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in that pool.
Not only disgrace and dishonor in that monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wedding. Yet this is your harmless fairy, monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be o'er ears for my labor.
Prithee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou here, this is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief, which may make this island thine own forever. And I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand, I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stefano, oh peer, oh worthy Stefano, look what a wardrobe here is for thee.
Let it alone, thy fool, it is but trash.
Oh, monster, we know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stefano.
Off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
A dropsy drowned this fool. What do you mean? To dote on this such luggage? Let's alone, and do thy murder first. If he awake, from toe to crown, he'll fill our skins with pinches and make strange stuff.
Oh, be you quiet, monster. Mistress Line, is this not my jerkin? Now is the jerkin under the line? Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and it like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Now, here's a garment for it.
Ah.
Go unrewarded while I'm king of this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent pass on pate. There, here. Here's another garment for thee.
Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I will have none of it. We shall lose our time, and all be turned to barnacles or to apes with full foreheads villainous load.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bear this away, or where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Now go to, carry these, huh?
And this.
Aye, and this.
A noise of hunters heard. Enter diverse spirits in shape of dogs and hounds, hunting them about. Prospero and Ariel setting them on.
Hey, Mountain, hey!
Silver, there it goes, Silver!
Fury! There, tyrant! There! Hark! Go charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with age, cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than pard or catamountain.
Hark, they roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little follow and do me service.
Exeunt. Actus Quintus, Scena Prima. Enter Prospero in his magic robes, and Ariel.
Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th, however, at which time, my lord, you said our work should cease.
I did say so, when first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir. In the lion grove which weather fends your cell, they cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay, but chiefly him that you term, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears runs down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works him that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? For with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick. Yet with my nobler reason against my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune, and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sower ringlets make, whereof the yew not bites, and you, whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oaked, and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have acquired some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work upon mine end upon their senses, that this airy charmed is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than ever did plummet sound, I'll drown my book.
Solemn music. Here enters Ariel before, then Alonso with a frantic gesture, attended by Gonzalo, Sebastian and Antonio in like manner, attended by Adrian and Francisco. They all enter the circle which Prospero had made, and there stand charmed, which Prospero observing speaks.
A solemn air, the best comforter to an unsettled fancy. Cure thy brains, now useless, boil within thy skull. There stand, for you are all spell-stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chance the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver and a loyal sir, to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home both in word and deed. Most cruelly did thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you brother mine, that entertain ambition, expel remorse and nature, whom with Sebastian, whose inward pitches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lie foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and repair in my cell. I will discase me and myself present as I was sometime Millen. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Ariel sings and helps to attire him.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back do I fly. After summer, merrily, merrily, after I hammer, shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place. And presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me, and return or ere your pulse twice beat.
Exit.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou be he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know thy pulse, beats as of flesh and blood. And since I saw thee, the affection of my mind amends with which I fear a madness held me. Thus must crave, as if this be at all a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrong, for thou shouldst Prospero be living and be here.
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all, but you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time, I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in him.
No, for you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
Oh, if thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou hast met us here, whose 3 hours since were wrecked upon this shore. Where have I lost? How sharp the point of this remembrance is. Oh, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says to it past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You like the loss?
As great to me, as late and supportable to make the dear lost, have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh heavens, that they were living both in Naples, the king and queen there that they were. I wish myself were muddied in that cozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do office of some truth. But their words are natural breath. But howsoever you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very duke which thou thrust forth of Milan, whom most strangely upon this shore where you were racked was landed, to be the lord on't. No more of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This sells my court. Here have I few attendants and subjects none abroad. Pray you look in. My dukedom since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, at least bring forth a wonder to content ye, as much as me my dukedom.
Here, Prospero discovers Ferdinand and Miranda playing at chess.
Sweet Lord, you play me false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision on the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder! How many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is! Oh, brave new world that has such people in't.
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Thou eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that hath severed us and hath brought us together?
Sir, she is mortal. but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life and second father. This lady makes him to me.
I am hers, but oh, how oddly will this sound that I must ask my child's forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, that his issue should become kings of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find in Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife, for he himself was lost. Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart, that thou dost wish your joy.
Be it so. Amen.
Enter Ariel with the master and the boatswain amazedly following.
Oh, look, sir, here is more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now blasphemy that swears grace or bound. Not an oath on shore, hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our king and company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tight in yarn, bravely rigged as when we first put it out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, where but even now with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, gingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awaked straight away at liberty, where we in all our trim freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our masters capering to eye her on a trice, so please you, even in a dream were we divided from them, and were brought moping hither.
Was it well done?
Bravely by diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er man trod, and there is this business more than nature, which even conduct of some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At pick pleasure, which shall be shortly single, I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable, of every these happened accidents. Till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Enter Ariel, driving in Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo in their stolen apparel.
Man, shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for but himself, for all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio.
These be true spies which I wear in my abu head. There's a goodly sight.
Oh, Cerberus, these brave spirits indeed, how fine my master is. I am afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy
very like one of them is plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command. Without her power, these three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stefano, my drunken butler?
He's drunk now. We're having wine.
And Triculo, is recycling ripe where thou shouldst where thou they find this grand liquor, and hath gilded them, and cannot thou in this principle?
I've been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Hi, how now, Stefano?
Touch me not, I'm not Stefano, but a cramp.
You'd be king of the isle, sirrah.
I should have been a sore one then.
This a strange thing as ere I looked on.
He is as disproportionate in his manners as in his shape. Go, sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter, and seek for grace. What a thick double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god, and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
You stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as I not doubt shall make it go quick away. The story of my life, and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn, I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnized, and thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take ears strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well. Please you, draw near.
Exeunt omnes.
Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bonds, with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself, and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardon be, let your indulgence set me free.
Exit. Feeney, well done. Thank you all very much. Thank you, David. It's good to have you back, and Ben, who's first on from one of our Zoom ones, and it's great seeing a lot of you back. And I also want to especially commend Leah for playing up the Miranda admiration pun. You know, yes, Shakespeare loved these puns that drive people crazy, and so it's fun to do that, and I sort of do that. So thank you all very much. Any thoughts, observations you want to share? I'll promote our attendees to panelists.
I have a question. Were you controlling the size of the screen, or is that something I should have been doing, or what?
Well, what I was doing sometimes, usually we do it, I would, when people have sort of extended speeches, I have like a spotlight on them. And so that just emphasizes them. So that would happen. But generally the way I would try and do it mostly is to keep it in gallery, which is why we sort of want you to sort of like just turn off your video when you're not in the scene, so you just see the people in the scene. Of course, when you get to the last scene, you've got so
I'll have
much
to fool around with this a bit and figure out more about how it works.
The one character that I would have liked to have known more about was Clarabelle, who was spoken about rather intriguingly, but we don't know really much about her. So I wonder if Shakespeare ever wrote a draft of her and then said, no, maybe another time.
Well, since we don't know. Yes, they could have been another thing, a sequel, Clarabelle, maybe, who knows, there's an undiscovered quarto out there somewhere, somebody will find the life of Clarabelle in Tunis. I mean, because there is also, of course, the very strong sort of colonial sort of aspects of this as well. And I mean, some of the lines that really have like, oh yeah, you wouldn't let her marry a European, but she's married an African, you know, it's sort of like, okay. But yeah, Ben, you got something you want to say?
Yeah.
That final speech of Prospero's is pure Shakespeare. That's him talking, I think, at the very end, more than Prospero.
Yeah, I think so.
Closing speech, you mean? Prospero's? That's Shakespeare saying, thank you for all the channeling. I think, right? He's giving thanks to his muses.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Does anybody else know that Forbidden Planet, the 1949 fiction is based on this?
Oh yeah.
Can anybody explain to me, back channel by email, how? Because I don't see it.
Oh, come on, you've got everything. You've got, of course it's that. I mean, Walter Pidgeon is the mad scientist is Prospero. And then
Forbidden Planet, yeah.
I don't see it.
Well, I mean, they actually made a musical of it called
Return to the Forbidden
Planet, and I didn't see it, but one of it is Beware the Ids That March.
Ouch.
Hey, Ben and David Lutzer, I'm looking for a couple of dudes for Troilus and Cressida. And I also have one either or male or female small track open for Midsummer Night's Dream next week. But I need some guys for, I don't mean to be like, what is the word I'm looking for? Chauvinistic. I just really want guys to play up the homosexual
Can you
thing
send me
between
an email?
Achilles and
I have to be in my book, which I'm not.
it's 2 Thursdays from now on August 13th. And I need it. I would love for you to do Achilles.
Thank you. If you could send, let me make a note because I got to check my book.
All right.
Yeah, we don't have to commit to anything now, but I just want to let you guys know I hope to have more of the schedule out. We do have upcoming, it's fully cast on this Saturday is Henry VI Part 3, which Derek is play mastering, and then on the next 2 Thursdays, Michael is play mastering the Midsummer Night's Dream on next Thursday, and then on the following Thursday will be Troilus and Cressida.
Right. And I need several guys still for that one.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ben.
Especially for those of us that have done a lot of these or done a lot of theater, and we're all not doing theater. I was first not into these. I've been doing some of these, like not Instant Shakespeare, but other online projects. And at first I wasn't so into them. Now I'm starting to like actually find this. This is a great comfort. This is a connection, even though we're over the stupid screen.
It is.
With that horrible sound. I actually find I'm liking it.
I also find it educational because I know I screw up on words a lot, and to watch the performance, to watch it on tape afterwards, and to see where my speech needs a lot of improvement. It's a good educational thing especially for young actors.
Well, I'll tell you.
There you go. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Excellent job, everybody. I
Thank
understand.
you, everybody.
Bye.